YouTube was it's your boy Zell back with another one, man. In this video, we got Danny Garcia breaks his silence on why he quit versus Erislandy Lara. Um, what we know is two sides to every story, then it's the truth. We think Danny quit because he didn't have enough in him. You know what I mean? He bit off more than he could chew. Some people said he threw in the towel like a real man because he knew he couldn't win. Um, let's see.
Breaking news, Danny Garcia breaks his silence on his TKO loss to Erislandy Lara, where he's receiving a whole lot of backlash for quitting. Danny Garcia said, quote, came off a 2-year layoff, jumped up to middleweight, and tried to be great. I lost, but I'm a winner in life. I never been afraid to be great. Appreciate everyone for the love and support. End of the quote. I always find it funny how fighters immediately after the fight say, no excuses, he was the better man. And then the next day, they start making excuses. Well, Danny Garcia was not an exception. That's exactly what he did. Now, even though Danny may feel everything he said is a fact, he came off a long layoff and he moved up to middleweight. The reality is, Danny Garcia only moved up 3 pounds because the fight was at a catchweight of 157 pounds. Additionally, Lara himself has not been that active. I mean, leading up to the fight, Danny Garcia did admit that this fight was a great opportunity due to the fact normally he can't win a title at middleweight, but because this fight is at a catchweight, additionally, Lara himself is a 154 pounder. He recently moved up. On top of all of that, Lara is nearly 42 years old. He's a couple months removed from being 42. That's why Danny Garcia felt that this was a great opportunity.
What Aki pretty much saying is Danny tried to cherry pick the older man moving up, who just recently moved up, but it didn't work in his favor. Um, Cherry picks can go very wrong sometimes. But we all knew Erislandy Lara was no easy fight. He gave Canelo one of the fight of his life. Some people say Lara won. So I mean, I don't know if Danny thought it was gonna be easy. That couldn't have been what he thought, because Lara apparently he must have thought Father Time was gonna beat him, but it didn't.
Essentially, Lara is a grandpa. He's the oldest champion in the sport of boxing today for a reason. Therefore, that was a huge turnaround, a whole 180, a U turn for Danny Garcia to go from saying this is a great opportunity to catch Lara when he's almost 42 to now feel like he was at a disadvantage against a 42 years old guy when Danny Garcia is 6 years younger. I hear a lot of people say that Danny Garcia was not in the fight. He looked discouraged. Well, it's because of what Lara was doing. Danny Garcia was discouraged because Lara took him to the Cuban school, a school that he never got introduced to the whole entire time he's been boxing. That's a whole different school that he never knew about. Lara took him to that school. That's why he looked out of the fight from round one. I guarantee you this, if Danny Garcia was fighting Benavidez or a Mexican style fighter, he wouldn't have looked the way he did against Lara. The reason why Danny looked that way, discouraged and everything, is because of what Lara was doing. Remember, Lara beat Canelo 8 rounds to 4. Canelo robbed Erislandy Lara like he robbed majority of his opponents when the fights were close. In fact, you can make a case that Erislandy Lara is still undefeated. A lot of the fights he lost were really close that could have went either way. Especially the Canelo fight. Lara clearly won that fight, 8 rounds to 4. Due to how good Lara is, I already knew this was going to be a difficult fight for Danny Garcia. That's why I picked Lara to win, even though he's 41 years old, about to be 42. The reason why is because Danny Garcia is a counterpuncher by nature. He's flat-footed. So how the hell are you going to beat Lara being flat-footed and waiting on Lara to make a mistake so you could counter?
Facts. Lara gonna walk you in the shots. So to counterpunch Lara, you got to predict which shot he's going to throw and which ones he's not. So he layers his offense, so you can't just throw one shot in retaliation. It was a bad style matchup for Danny for sure.
That's not going to happen. You have to force Lara to make a mistake in order to catch him. And I just couldn't see Danny Garcia being able to do that. That's why during the fight, the commentary was so racially biased on the zone and on Amazon Prime to the point where people were surprised that Lara dropped Danny Garcia out of nowhere. You see, it felt like the knockdown came out of nowhere due to the fact that the biased commentators were too busy slandering Lara instead of doing their freaking job calling the shots, the vicious shots that Lara was landing on Danny Garcia. That's why Danny Garcia was discouraged immediately the moment Lara started touching him up. The speed, the timing, the accuracy, the power, the whole package that Lara brought to the table, along with his skills, the Cuban school, had Danny Garcia puzzled. And by the time he dropped Danny Garcia, Danny had already received a lot of punishment. He was already hurt before. He just had a good poker face. Now the
No, that's facts. He did have a good poker face. But what I do think is Danny he bit off more than he could chew. Lara was a 154-pound champion who gave Canelo a run for his money. Not only was Danny too small, he was also less skilled. If you're smaller and less skilled, you in for a hell of a night. So man, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. Till next time.